Hey, what's up everybody? Ramey here, and this video is for those of you that are looking for an entry-level squat rack, or power rack. What's the first rack you should get? What features should it have? What should I be looking at? Are the ones on Amazon, the generic ones, any good? Do I need to spend a lot of money on a power rack? How much should I spend? What features should I look for? What brands should I be looking at? If you're trying to ask all those questions about a power rack, this video is for you. I'm going to go through and explain what you should be looking for when you're looking for an entry-level power rack. So first thing you can see here, I am on a power rack. This is a Titan Fitness X3. You're like, do I need something like this? If you're looking for an entry-level rack, first rack, you're like, I'm not lifting a lot of weight. You probably do not. So let's go through and start talking about all the different stuff that you do need. So first of all, before we even get to the racks, let's start talking about the first and most important thing, and that is size and space that you have to work with. What size do you have? The room that I'm in right now is 12 by 8, but it's a lot bigger. I mean, my workout area is 12 by 8. I'm in a double-car garage, so it's a lot bigger. But I have some other things in here, and I have lots of space. But how much space do you have for the rack? First question to ask. Second question to ask is, what size do I actually want this rack? Like, there are different widths of power rack. In general, they're all between 47 and 49 inches, but you need to consider the depth when you actually start, the width of the rack when you actually start looking at it. The next thing is the height. How high is your ceiling? Which tells you how high your rack can be. So in general, you want the rack to be as high as you can make it. So if your ceiling's only 8 feet, you gotta get a rack that's smaller than that. If their ceiling's 9 feet or 10 feet, you can get a little higher rack. So you need to consider how high is the rack. The other dimension you're gonna consider in the rack is gonna be the depth. How deep do I want it to go? And that is all about your size. So if you have those dimensions, you have the height of your ceiling, you kind of know your workout area space, right? You're probably ready to start looking at racks. So let's go in, take a look at some of the features of racks and some of the common and best racks, entry level, cheapest, that are gonna serve you well, racks that you can get. All right, let's go. Okay, so now it's time to look at racks. So every rack that I'm gonna show you is absolutely 100% workable for you. There are people lifting 400, 500 pounds using all the racks I'm going to show you, and they are just fine. These racks have been tested on multiple YouTube videos for 700, 800 pounds and do fine. So even though the racks that I'm going to show you are super cheap, they are good enough. There are just other reasons why people want to upgrade to better racks. All right, so some of the keys of these racks, you see one up on the screen here. This is the Fitness Reality 810 for $299. All of the racks I'm going to show you have 2x2 size steel. So 2x2, like 2x2, that's what the size of these posts are going to be. The steel that they use is 14 gauge steel. That's pretty important. You would absolutely not want a rack that had 16 gauge. You want 14 gauge. This is the absolute cheapest rack that you can buy at $299. You can see there's an option for a lat pull down that you can pay for an extra $240 for, or buy as a package for $540. But by itself, this is the cheapest rack that you can get. If you're like, I just want a cheap rack that works, look no further, get this one. Why am I not recommending all the other ones, cheap ones on Amazon? This one's been tested. This one's been tested many times and it works. So that's why I'm recommending it. Two things I do not like about this rack. The one is the hole spacing. That's the size between these holes is 3 inches. I'm personally not a fan of that. The other thing is I do not like these J cups, those silver things right there. The reason that I don't like these silver things, and that's what holds your barbell when you're lifting, you can see it's holding this barbell, what's holding it, is that these will scratch your barbell, so you almost instantly need to replace these. So that's like an extra 50 bucks onto the rack. So while this is the absolute bare cheapest rack you can buy, unless you're finding one used on Marketplace, I think there are better options. And I'm going to show you 2 more better options that I would recommend over this one. However, this one's great. If you have a very, very strict budget,
get this one. $2.99. Honestly, if you don't like it, you can sell it back on Marketplace for probably almost what you paid for it. All right, so that's squat rack one that I recommend as a budget buy for those of you looking for what beginner squat rack should I get. All right, then we come to Titan Fitness. Now, this is actually the rack that I think is the best budget rack. And I'm going to show you one more after this as well that I think is good too. But I personally think this one is probably the best one, and I'll explain why. So first of all, this is the T2 from Titan. You can see it's 2x2, but look at these holes. Look how much closer they are than the Fitness Reality. These are 2 inches apart. These are 3. What that means is that when you want to line up where your spotter is going to go or this, you can line it up much more perfectly for yourself. So the closer these holes are together, the better. The other thing that's better about this rack is, first of all, you have options. If you 71 inches or 83, the Fitness Reality was only 83. The J cups that come with this, you don't need to replace. They're good. And these pin and pipes are much better. So right away with the Titan Fitness, even though it's more money, we're looking at $100 more, you are getting closer holes, better pin and pipes, and better J cups. Additionally, the reason that I say this is the best beginner rack to buy, when I click on accessories, if you want to buy extra stuff for this rack, look at all the options. Titan has done such a good job of supporting this rack. You've got safety spotter arms. You can extend it to 6 posts. So as you lift more and decide you like it, you can buy all kinds of attachments for it, which I think is a great idea. You can even get mono lifts, things to store weight, roller J cups, which allows you to roll your barbell. You can get, you really like that pull-up bar, you can buy that. So there's lots of options. Titan's done a great job of supporting it. So I really think that the T2 is probably the best cheap rack. Now, notice that it's $379 and 71 is just $399.83. If you are deciding to buy this rack, look for sales. Titan has sales all the time. Additionally, click Scratch and Dent, and you will probably find this rack for I think I've recently seen it for $320 to $340. So you're going to get it for a significant. But remember, you are getting the better holes with this, the better J cups, the better pin and pipes. But if you only have $299, get this. This rack is great. All right, next thing. Again, these racks all work. Well, no matter what weight you're lifting, you're going to be good. The next one, we've got the Rep PR1000. Now, again, this rack is actually identical to the Titan rack that I just showed you. They're pretty much exactly the same. The pin and pipes on the Titan are probably better. It's $399. It does only come in the one size though, which is the 83 inches. So Titan offers the 71 inch in addition to the Rep 1000. All right, but this would be the other rack. And the reason I would choose Titan or Rep, one of these two over this, is the attachments. If you click on equipment, rack attachments for this machine and click the 1000, you can see all the different attachments that Rep has for this. They just don't seem to have as many. So that's why I picked the T2 over it. You can see there's just not as many attachments. And Titan has more attachments. I also like the pin and pipes on the Titan one a little better. So those are the reasons I would choose the Titan one over this one. All right, you're also, if you're on Rep's page, you're going to see this rack. And you're going to think, wow, I like this one better because that pull-up bar sells people. Yes, it does. The pull-up bar does sell people. And look, this one's only $379. It's a little cheaper. Well, why is that? Here's why it's $20 cheaper. And look, it's color. That's so cool. Yes, it is. But it's cheaper because look at the hole spacing. We got 3-inch holes, unfortunately. The 3-inch hole spacing. I would 100,000 times choose this rack with the 2-inch hole spacing over this with the 3. So I wouldn't even consider this rack. Let's just close it right now. Get the PR1000 if you want to get Rep. So those are your 3 options. We got the Fitness Reality for $299. But I would highly encourage you, if you can, to upgrade to either the Titan or Rep 1000. The Titan's the only one offered in the 71 inches, so if you have a real short ceiling, there you go. That's your option, $379. These are the cheapest racks you're going to find. There are other options outside of power rack. So let's say you're like, you know what? These are huge. I can't fit these in my space. It's just not going to work. It's just way too much. You're nervous about it. There are other options. There are different kinds of squat stands out there. You can get any kind of squat stand like this, but look at the prices. They're the same price as a rack. So here are some other options. These are all good. These all work for you. Yes, but they are pricey just as much as the racks. But if you do not have the space, consider the squat stand. And I know I didn't talk about them, and Fitness Reality offers them as well. Here's one for $238. I know that I didn't talk about them as an option because we're really focusing on squat racks. But after going through this and you think you just don't have the space, that would be my recommendation. So there you have it. That is, if I'm a beginner and I'm buying a squat rack, what I'm looking for. I've got to figure out if I have the space. I got to figure out how high my ceiling is. And then I got to start considering these other features like hole spacing, like the J-cups, like the attachments. What do I really want to buy? What do I need? This is the absolute cheapest at $299. Then we've got the Titan and Rep. Titan T2, Rep 1000. Go to these two sites, compare the attachments, think about which one you might want to get. These sites both offer free shipping as well. So that's the price including shipping. And then, look at, compare that to the Fitness Reality and think, is it worth the upgrade? I personally would rather spend $100 on this versus this for the better J-cups and the better hole spacing and the more availability of attachments. But maybe to you, it's not. You're looking for something cheap that you can just have in your house, and this is your only option. This is a great rack. You could lift 400 pounds on this and be completely safe. So if you're not lifting more than that, there is no reason to ever upgrade this rack for the rest of your life. So those are my thoughts. I'd be curious to hear after watching this what rack you actually decide you're going to get. So take a look and, comment on what your thoughts are if you have any questions or what rack you actually get. All right, later all.